at least a couple of times you spoke about how you did a sales stint, right, where you actually cold called customers
Yeah.
and probably met them. How important has that been subsequently for you as a marketer, right? And the reason why I'm asking that again, Ishan, my personal view is that everybody that aspires to be a marketeer, right, should do a sales stint, right? And a lot of the biggest companies, for example, especially companies like HUL, they don't put you in the marketing team unless you spent a couple of years on the field actually selling, right? Interacting with your distributors, interacting with your retailers, interacting with the final consumers. And I think that really shapes a marketeer's view and makes it very practical versus them sitting in their own castles in some way, right? So I am sure your sales stint that you had really had a big impact on you, in your journey as a marketer to now head of marketing. So tell me how important you think it is for people that aspire to be in marketing to, spend their time in sales first.
So essentially, marketing is all about your consumer, right? If you don't know your consumer, theoretically you will be able to reach out to them, but you'll never make an impact, right? Having a sales career, it could be hardcore or underlining, or maybe at an agency as a servicing person, ensuring that you extract. It gives you two basic learnings. One, you know how each individual is thinking, right? Everybody is different. Everybody thinks differently, which is why we don't have two identical houses next to each other, right? So neighbors don't have the same house, but they are living in the same colony. Two different thoughts, right? Every individual have a different thought, and you get to know more of them, more about them. The kind of thinking that the country has, and different people could have from different stratas. That's one learning. Secondly, it also teaches you revenue and numbers. The essence and the importance that the business that you'll work with eventually needs to make money. Now you don't know how to make money or how to get the money in or how to extract the profit out of it or any of those, then you can't be a marketer. So it gives you monetary learning and experiential learning both at the same time, and the importance of the larger purpose of any organization, no matter how big it is or how small it is to get the money, the revenue in. So eventually what happens is your approach as a marketer becomes very profit oriented, and you know that whatever you do is not just to be creative or just to be quirky. There's a common perception in the market that I'm a marketer, I'm going to write all cool quirky copies. No, that's not marketing. That's a very little tiny bit of marketing. The real thing is that if every quirky copy of yours is not getting me dough,
Yeah,
all the money is flowing in,
yeah,
then you are a failed marketer.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so these two learnings, people and money.
Got it. I think that's very, very, very interesting, right? Because I see so often that people actually don't want to go through the rigor of being in sales, right? Whether you're sitting in an AC office or picking up the phone and doing cold calling, or actually if you're, say part of FMCG or one of those industries, actually being on the field, right? And I think some of the absolute best marketeers, whether it's on the agency end or whether it's at the client end, at both ends, I think some of the best people there have been salespeople, have been business people, have done something where their feet are rooted to the ground in some way, and they just don't think everything is about quirky copy, like you said,
Right.
right? I think that's a very important lesson if anybody wants to take out of it.